part two here. But he did it in a way that made them more mature, not just so adult oriented, which in a sense they were, but not really. But they were more of an adult orientation on a more mature level. Basically, it's like he took the TV Y7 rating and upped it to TV PG with LSV under it, or TV PG S, SC, if you will, like parental guidance suggested, adult content, suggestive content, or suggestive sexual content, whatever you want to call it, stuff like that. Like some could be rated TV PG, and then they'll come out and say behind it, it has adult content, it has sex and some suggestive content, sexual suggestive content. So stuff like that. That's basically what he basically turned. Overall, he basically took these characters in their comic appearances as well as their animated appearances and made them more adult, put them more on a PG-13 level. Let's put it that way, more of a PG-13 level. Now we haven't seen any new shorts from him involving these characters in a while, but who knows? Maybe someday we will. But it's because of what Eric did by laying the foundation with, as one of the founders, in my opinion, or one of the big founders of the furry community, in my opinion, non-character wise, laying the foundation with his characters and their comic strips and their cartoons and all that, that he basically paved the way for other people to come on board. In fact, recently I discovered what's the channel name? VVD Pop, or Vivi Pop, if you will, and it's basically a channel where I can't think of her name right now, but she basically, along with other people, animate shorts. Do some animated shorts sometimes. They're just maybe a few seconds long, maybe a minute long, 2 minutes. And it was here that I discovered an animated music video that they did to Keisha's Die Young song. And I saw this and I'm like, I wonder what this is about, because honestly I was still looking for a music video by a female artist that has similarities and traits to Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer video. That's what I was still looking for and still am. So that's what led me here. That's what led me to this, ironically. And when I saw it Die Young and I saw how well it was animated, I was like, oh my gosh. This is good. This could be, honestly, these people could be hired on to, honestly, these people could take these characters, present them to a studio, and probably get a freaking series out of it. That's how good the animation is. It's really, really good. And it felt like, and to me, it felt like this is a music video that Keisha herself would appreciate, and even would dub as, and even would dub as one of her official videos for Die Young, because it's that good. It's really, really good. And I don't know what else to say about it. But it's because, like I said, of that foundation being built by people like Eric Schwartz and his characters and what he did with those characters, that the furry fandom, the furry community, has been able to expand into areas it's never expanded into before. Despite how people may feel about them, they have created a community that is bigger, if not maybe just a bit bigger, than what the Brony community has become and still is becoming. If you were to take a look at in my opinion, the top 3 fandoms and communities out there, in my opinion, if you take a look at the top 3 communities out there that have a huge fan base, besides the obvious Transformers, Jem, G.I. Joe, and all that, but from almost a furry standpoint, you could probably say that the top 3, in my opinion, would be the furries themselves, the bronies, and the Sonic SatAM fans. And those are the top 3 because of the support because of the support and growth all three communities and fan bases and fandoms have. And again, this is just, in my opinion, proof as to why the furry community is what it is to this day. Why you see at times a lot of these furry conventions, fur cons, whatever you want to call it. Why you have why you see sometimes during the day. Let's just say you're a person going to work, it's a regular day, and all of a sudden you see somebody somebody walking in a furry anthropomorphic costume, and you'll be like, and at first you'll probably be like, huh, and then you'll see the direction they're going in, and you'll be like, oh, okay, it's a fur convention going on here in town. Okay, whatever. Okay, that's cool. Or you might still be one of those, be like, they actually have conventions for these things? Things like that. Now, there are, like I said, there are those, as I mentioned in part one, there are those that don't really like the furry communities, and there are those that will even go as far as to try to not only threaten the furry communities, the furry fandoms, but go as far as to almost want to cause physical harm to them. And what I mean is, you have people that will do anything. And I mean anything from, like I mentioned earlier, cyberbullying, you know, they would do just about anything from like cyberbullying to what you heard about last year. And in case some of you don't know, last year in Chicago, um, someone or some people decided to basically attack people at a fur convention or a fur con, if you will. And it was basically it was the one of the biggest fur cons or furry conventions of around, and it was the Midwest Fur Con or whatever it was. And I can't think of the name right now, but what they did is they decided to attack these people late at night. It's like it was going from Saturday into Sunday, and all of a sudden something was detected, something was smelled. People were getting sick out of it, were getting sick because of it. They had to evacuate the hotel, or certain sections of the hotel because of it. And it just showed, and I even did a video on it. You can check it out here on my channel. It just showed to me the level of stupidity people have. The level of not just stupidity, but of disdain for things that they don't understand, they don't get. Because like I said in part one, I've said in my video a couple years ago, these are people that put these on because it allows them to escape the realms of reality for at least a little while. Allows them to escape the stress of the real world after maybe a hard work day for a few hours. It allows them to do that. And true, some people may not understand that. They may not get that. And some may just feel like, hey, these people are nothing but weirdos and they need to be put out of their miseries, or they need to be taught a lesson that, hey, this furry fandom, this furry community that you're a part of is a joke and you need to grow up and move on. And they just don't understand that this is just how people are. I mean, I guarantee you, there are some people part of this furry community that dress up as anthropomorphic characters, either well-known ones from cartoons or whatever, or original, that could be successful business people. And they will go, when they get home, and they will go and dress up as the furry animals and all that when they get home, because they want to escape the stress of the real world, the stress of the workday, the stress of the responsibilities they would have with being in the position that they're in. And the people that do these kind of acts just don't get that. They don't understand it. And I feel that's a shame. I really do. But despite some of the ups and downs, the one thing that can be established is this furry community is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. The furry fan base, furry fandom is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And whether you understand them or you don't, the truth is this community, this fandom, this fan base is here to stay. And you know what? As I've learned personally, you don't always have to dress up in a furry costume or anthropomorphic costume to support the furry community. You don't, because I do. You know, do I hope someday to have a costume, a furry costume, maybe to dress up in for Halloween or a costume party or maybe go to a convention and wear it? Yes, of course. I mean, do you not think there are furry members of the furry community and all that that dress up and go to E3 and San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con? Of course they do. The thing is, and speaking of which, the thing is, dressing up for conventions, and the thing is, dressing up for conventions. Let's say you dress up as Spider-Man or Wolverine or anything, or any superhero or whatever, is no different than what the fans of the people of the furry community are doing. It's no different. So again, despite how people might look at it, whether they understand it and accept it, whether they're still on the fence about it, or they just don't like it, the fact is the furry community, the furry fan base, and the furry fandom is here to stay. And like I said, you don't have to be someone that dresses up in a furry anthropomorphic fursuit and all that just to, be a supporter of the community or a member of the community. You don't. Because sometimes you just gotta show your support and respect for them. So that's all I'm gonna say, folks. Sorry this was in two parts, but that's basically answering the question. But this is just my way of answering the question I think a lot of people have had. What is with the furry fan base community or fandom/community? What is it about? So hopefully this answered your questions from my perspective. Let me know down below what you guys think, and I'll talk to y'all later.